Dạ, Jimmy Thái xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của đài VNTV San Diego. Thưa quý vị, cái cuộc sống ở nước Mỹ lúc nào nó cũng rất là bận rộn. Về cái đời sống vật chất có thể cho là đầy đủ, nhưng mà tinh thần thì chúng ta rất là bận rộn về nhà cửa, con cái, công việc làm. Và theo tiếng Mỹ nó gọi là stressful đó. Thì hôm nay trong phòng thu của chúng ta hân hạnh được đón bác sĩ Lê Dạ Lữ. Anh là Psychiatrist. Và xin chào anh Lữ.
Chào anh Jimmy và xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của đài VNTV.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about your background and your experience on this mental health field?
Okay, sure, be happy to. I graduated from UCSD in the psychiatry specialty, and I currently work for the Department of Defense as a psychiatrist specializing in PTSD for our service members who return from combat and need the combination of care of medication, therapy, and I also offer medical acupuncture as part of my treatment.
Interesting. Now, why this mental health is such an issue that you think the Vietnamese community needs to know?
I think in general, we're better than often before, but I think the community can be more informed about the variety of mental health conditions that need special evaluation, a more in-depth understanding of perhaps what's going on with the family member or the individual himself or herself. As a community, we may often sometimes just like generalize the person's condition as điên or khùng or just mad, right? So it doesn't really fully explain the scope and the depth and the breadth of the person's internal mental health condition. And after special evaluation, I think they can be of more help to the individual and for the family as well. And so I'd like to share that with the community and have a better understanding of that.
All right. So instead of we generalize most of people with the mental health in Vietnamese điên khùng, what are specific symptom or the names that you can categorize these mental health?
Yeah. One of the most common one is depression. That one I know how to say in Vietnamese, trầm cảm, right? So depression has its variety of symptoms to diagnose it, but I'll go over the major category and maybe we can go down one by one. So depression, substance use disorder, or nghiện rượu hay là nghiện any kind of other thing, đánh bài hoặc là internet, right? And then there's bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety, and ADHD, which is very common in our younger population to be diagnosed. So I just want the community to be aware of when it's appropriately diagnosed versus when it may be overdiagnosed and maybe taking medication that they shouldn't be.
Right. So for the benefit of the audience, I understand your message is that we need to have the early diagnosis, right? Because the earlier the better for the treatment. So can you explain the benefit of seeking mental health to the audience, please?
Yeah, sure. So how we discern when is it time to actually seek help versus when it's kind of okay to use the family support. You can gauge occupational, relationship, and personal and social setting of the individual. If there's been a decline in the person's functioning, no longer hanging out with friends, having difficulties with working and not performing at the same level at work, and having relationship problems where maybe more fights or maybe heading into a divorce, and also separation from families and friends, withdrawal kind of. So you now see a picture of the person's declining in family, in occupation, financial, legal, and relationship. So when all those things combine and it's all heading downward, we can say that's a pretty strong red flag to maybe seek professional evaluation for maybe additional support and help for something that could easily be probably modifiable and managed if we have the timely manner and understand the correct diagnosis to help the individual out more appropriately.
Now, so what is the process of somebody come to your office and seek help? Can you briefly describe the process of people will open up to come to seek help?
Yeah, so first you would probably go to your primary care doctor. That's your family medicine doctor, and they're also trained as well to perhaps screen for at least the basic anxiety, depression, and schizophrenia or alcohol use disorder. So anything that's outside of the norm of the doctor's understanding of the patient, he may send a referral, or maybe sometimes it's the family talking to the doctor and say, my husband hasn't been right lately. He's drinking a little more. He's not sleeping well. He's irritable. He's, angry a lot more, and his temper is out of control. Things like that, that kind of concerns the family, and they prompt the husband to go, or the spouse to seek help. Once that referral is made, then you go and see the specialist, whether a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Psychologist for therapy, and psychiatry for medication management to augment with the therapy as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So once we pass that phase, then what's the next step?
So once we pass that phase, let's say, what are the different diagnoses we've just briefly covered that the doctor might actually ask more about? I just want to cover some of the key topics for each diagnosis, so you can take away from it. Depression. We have sleep. Some people may sleep too much. Some people start to sleep a lot less. Just things going on in their mind at night, and it just can't shut the mind down, and they worry about one thing to the next. We call that kind of like a rumination. They just keep going and going and going and can't quiet the mind down. So sleep is the first thing we notice. Decrease in interest. I used to like exercise. I used to like hanging out with children, going to the park. Now I don't really I feel like going anywhere. I just want to stay at home inside the bed and not see anyone, not talk to anyone. So kind of like a social withdrawal, decreased interest. A decrease in self-esteem and guilt and confidence. It's just everything is my fault. I'm the one to blame. Energy level can be lower. Concentration and focus, you can also see, is now a lot less. People would say, I keep forgetting everything. I'm not like this before. I can't remember anything. I can't read a whole paragraph and remember. And I just walked upstairs and I don't remember why I did it. I walked down again and now I got to go back up. So a lot of concentration, focus problem. Appetite changes. Some people can have more. Some people can have less. Just don't feel like eating. Some people eat to cope with the sad feelings, perhaps. And then you start to notice physical coordination changes, like a slow movement, like a body language different, like just feeling really low, really down, not really that carrying the self in through the physical realm. And suicidality, an increased thought in maybe it's better to just end it all. Maybe there's no hope. This is it. I don't see the future. So that's a very dangerous one. So that is the depression screening. That's one of the more common one. The other common one is alcohol. We talk about, like, how do you know when drinking is just okay within a social and when it's like beyond acceptable and you're in the danger realm and you need to talk or seek professional help. Tolerance. If you're drinking more than to get the same effect. Before you drank one beer and that was good. Now you have to drink 5 beers to get that same buzz. That's a warning sign. And then withdrawals. Let's say you drink and then you stop drinking abruptly. Your body starts having vital signs changes. You're becoming more irritable. You might even go into a seizure. If you have prolonged chronic drinking, that could be a problem. Overuse. You said, just drink one drink, that's enough. But the person has a hard time stopping there. They drink 2, 4, 6, and then the next thing you know, they don't even care and they just keep drinking. Difficulty with quitting. I do it, this New Year's Day, set the resolution. This is it. It's a special day for me. And come January 2nd, it's okay. I'll just do it. Just all willpower disappear. And so the difficulty of quitting and keep on relapsing and going back into the pattern. Activity. You spend all day thinking about that next drink. When am I going to drink it? Where am I going to drink it? Who am I going to drink it with? What drink am I going to drink? So obsessing and preoccupied all day long about that next drink. Okay. And the last two, pretty important. This is probably how people come first. They don't come and tell you that I have tolerance, I have withdrawals, or what. They usually come and say, my wife says I better do this, or my husband, is going to leave me if I don't stop this. So there's a ultimatum in the family context. Like, my children don't want to talk to me anymore. My boss is worried about me at work. and I got a DUI, you know. So there are social consequences to your drinking, and that is prompting this evaluation.
I see.
And the last is negative health consequences. People sometimes wait until they have cirrhosis, wait until they have, like, you know, kidney damage and all these other parts. But sometimes, despite knowing this negative outcome in health, they still cannot stop the drinking. So those two, the depression and the alcohol use, are some of the major ones that we see in the community that I'd like to have a better understanding for everyone to know. So when they see sleep disturbance or alcohol use increased, it's maybe time to talk to the doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about the warning signs, and you talk a lot about the patient behavior change, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, how's the family support
Yeah.
is so important in a part of this holistic,
Yeah.
you know?
You hit it right there. That's it. The family support, you know, the network of relying on to when your resources are low, you know, because you got to imagine what their world is in. They've been suffering for a long time. If you've been drinking for a long time, chances are you may not have that many friends left, and your family is probably pretty tired of you know, dealing with it. So having a family support network to be there in times when you could use a little more help, and taking you to the doctor even, or making sure you go to all your AA meetings, or making sure you're taking the right medication the doctor is giving you and taking it as regularly prescribed. Those may seem small, but family help strengthens that compliance, you know, that ability to make sure to do what the treatment team is recommending. To get the whole treatment continuity and you know, in alignment with what the doctor and the patient has discussed. So having family support is key. Friends, social network to rely on.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, so we cover a lot of aspects of the very complicated topics. So the last question that I'd like to ask you is, what other advice do you have for our audience besides, you know, seek help early and get into the network support and family support? What else in your experience that they really need to pay attention to?
You know, good question. It's about being maybe perhaps more patient and understanding, because I think in general, if we just observe people and we see them being irritable and being difficult, we may not understand what's going on behind, and we may respond to the level of the irritability rather than maybe have an understanding of what's triggering this state. And so have a better understanding and knowing that maybe there is more to it, and more observation data point from the family. And if we see a deviation from the social, from the marital and occupational and financial and legal realms of this person's functioning, those are key signs to maybe this is the time to seek professional evaluation in a timely manner, because when we have that, we're more than likely able to have a diagnosis and then a treatment plan that will align with the patient's needs. And that would be, you know, the recommendation is understanding timely evaluation and you know, providing support beyond just the medical evaluation, because the work is on the individual and the family to make sure the treatment goes well.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful advice. Thank you so much. Dạ, kính thưa quý vị, thì để Jimmy Thái xin được tóm tắt lại cái buổi nói chuyện giữa Jimmy và bác sĩ Lê Dạ Lữ về cái bệnh tâm thần, thì 3 cái điều chính mà quý vị nên để ý. Điều thứ nhất là bác sĩ nói chúng ta phải để những cái warning sign, tức là những cái gì mà thấy trong người thân trong gia đình mình bắt đầu withdraw hay change hay thay đổi quá nhiều, và mình phải khuyến khích người đó nên đi khám. Tại vì mình càng khám sớm, mình phát hiện ra sớm, thì cái bác sĩ và những cái người professional, những cái người chuyên gia có thể chữa trị sớm. Cái thứ hai nữa là cái vấn đề gia đình giúp đỡ, nó rất là quan trọng. Từ cái việc nhỏ nhặt chẳng hạn như là chở đi bác sĩ, hay là nhắc nhở phải uống thuốc đúng ngày đúng giờ, những cái chuyện đó, hay là đi những cái buổi họp, những cái buổi meeting của support group, rất là quan trọng quý vị. Chuyện nhỏ đó là những cái mà trong gia đình chúng ta có thể giúp đỡ cái người bệnh nhân được. Và cái điều cuối cùng bác sĩ nhấn mạnh là chúng ta phải có một cái sự thông cảm. Thì chúng ta phải tìm hiểu, chúng ta biết được và chúng ta bắt đầu có sự quan tâm, chứ không phải là thấy những người này cái nghĩa là điên khùng và bỏ qua một bên, hay là tính tới chuyện ly dị, hay là chuyện làm cho người ta cảm thấy người ta bị đẩy vào cái đường cùng nhiều hơn nữa. Thì đó là 3 cái điểm chính mà bác sĩ Lê Già Lưỡi đã khuyến khích chúng ta nên để ý và chúng ta nên theo dõi và chúng ta nên ngăn chặn kịp thời. Và như vậy thì Simmy xin tạm ngưng cái chương trình Straight Talk hôm nay. Cảm ơn sự lắng nghe quý vị và xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình kỳ tới. Cảm ơn bác sĩ ạ.
Cảm ơn anh Jimmy. Cảm ơn quý vị.